Hello everybody, I know it's been a minute since I recorded a video. Excuse these because they are deep and really need to be done. But I come to you here to talk to you about some things. I went to a conference this weekend and it was an amazing conference. Giving Birth to Your Identity, Coming Out of Darkness with Evangelist Shaniqua Wilson and Melvin Wilson. And I realized something. Just even speaking with her today about my experiences at the conference is oftentimes we seek validation from people. We seek for them to accept us for who we are. We seek for them to just love us and say, oh, you're great just as you are. And we got to understand, regardless if this your dad, your brother, your sister, your uncles, your cousins, no matter who it is, it becomes irrelevant. Because at the end of the day, it's all about what God say. Last year, I taught on validation. And I realized last year that my validation has already happened. It happened at the beginning of time. It happened back when God said, I created heavens and earth, and let's put man on it, and let's let them let's bless them and let them multiply. It happened when he told Jeremiah, he said, Jeremiah, I call you from the beginning of time, and I set you apart, and I set you aside so that you can preach and you can prophesy and you can teach and you can do all these things great for me. Not because man says you did it, but because God said you did it. And when we get the clear understanding of what God says, our life will begin to change. When we really and truly let go of people, our life begins to change. When we really realize that everybody's not going to accept you, everybody's not going to love you, but God does. And God will begin to place people in your lives that believes in the very thing He created you to be, and they will encourage you to become the very thing He created you to be. That's the greatest thing about God. It might not be a family member, but God said, I love you. God said, I created you. God said, I formed you. God said, I know you. And in spite of situation and circumstances, in spite of things that I've done right and I've done wrong, guess what? He still loves me. In spite of the situations and circumstances, even that you're in, that you've done right and you've done wrong, God loved you. He still called you and He still validated you from the beginning of time. My job right now is here to encourage you to say, forget it all and run. Run after God. They ain't got to believe in your dreams. They ain't got to believe in nothing that you're saying or what you're doing. But if God says so, and God said it to be so, then know that it's so. At some point in our lives, we got to know that we know that God said yes. When you hear the voice, that God gave you a passion, God say, hey, I want you to go out and I want you to start a business. But the people around you said, no, you can't do it. The people around you said, no, that ain't for you. You just need to go get a 9-to-5. And there's nothing wrong with having a 9-to-5. It's amazing having a 9-to-5. I work a 9-to-5 actually. Actually a 7-to-3, but it's the same concept. But when God said, I have created you, formed you, and knew you from the time you was in your mother's womb. He gave you your identity in Christ at that moment in time. See, we got to understand that Christ has our identity in Him. And in Him we are made. And in Him we will become the very thing that God has created us to be. And we got to learn to love ourselves as Christ loved us. Because He laid down His life for us. Yes, our mom, our dads, our birthed us. Yes, our sisters and our brothers have been raised with us, but they're not our God. And they have nothing to say when God says yes. It's irrelevant the no that they say, the no that they speak, the no that they even feel, because it doesn't matter, because God says yes. And here's another thing. You got to understand, too, that sometimes people say no. Some people don't believe. Sometimes people don't understand. It's because they're in competition with you and you don't even realize it. I just realized that. I didn't realize that they were trying to get to me and we were fighting a race or running a race that I didn't even know was there. So they don't want you to become something. You know why? Because God told them to and they chose no. And you're choosing yes. You're choosing to follow God. You're choosing to chase after your dream that God has given you, the vision that God has given you. What God has put on the inside of you, you're choosing to do it. That upsets them because they made the conscious decision not to do what God say. They make a conscious decision not to even go with the anointing that God may have placed on their lives. So they don't want you to, because they're afraid that you just might make it. You just might do it. That vision, you just might go through it. That thing that God is birthing in you, they're afraid that you just might do the very thing that he called them a long time to do, and they chose not to do. So be it. Oh well, keep pushing forward, keep moving forward, because it becomes irrelevant. Because if God says so, it is so. We quote that all the time in the church. It is so. Why is it so? Because he said it. Not because man said it. Man cannot call, man cannot do, and man cannot even stop. That's the greatest thing about God. We have allowed man to stop us from doing what God has already ordained and called us to do. Whatever it shall be. No, it's been a long time. I'm hoping to get back to you guys more, and I'll explain some of the journey I've been on this year, because this has been a rough year. I love you. I'm praying for you. And please understand, when God said yes, doesn't matter if man said no, because he already validated and put his stamp of approval on it. Everything else is either you get in line or you fall behind. It becomes irrelevant. Bye. Love you and see you later.